All right. Thank you so much for joining me on this mastermind call. I hope this is a wonderful experience for you where you get just a ton out of it. Now, I will tell you that today is going to be a little bit different from the normal mastermind call. So if you are joining this and you're going, hey, wait a second, this is not quite what I was looking for or what I was expecting, just realize this is the very first one. And so it's starting up. So anyway, one of the things that you are going to find is that I won't be responding to questions. Normally what this is it's giving you an opportunity to get FaceTime with me. And if you have specific questions, things you're working on in your life, things that you would like to, really get kind of to the nitty-gritty stuff with, I'd love to help you. And so that's what these monthly calls are about. And I'm looking forward to hearing your questions and really interacting with you and having that time to really converse. So that's just a little bit about the calls. So with this one, there's actually nobody else on. I'm starting this up. If you have been paying attention to the YouTube show, Are We Novice Gods? You've kind of seen how I've started from nothing, and it's grown and is growing into hopefully, a really great thing that's going to help many people. So anyway, this is the very first one. I wanted to record this and get it to you so that whenever you sign up, you have episodes of our coaching calls in the bin, I don't know, so that you can go back, so that you can get immediate access, and you don't have to wait till the first Tuesday of each month, or the next first Tuesday to get started. So hopefully this helps you out. Hopefully what I have to share today will be enlightening to you. I'm really excited about what I have. I've been thinking about it a long time. It's been percolating in my mind. I've been very thoughtful and very prayerful about this as to what I could share that would be most beneficial to you. So hopefully that's something that you'll find. And anyway, that gives you just a little beginning on this. Actually, one more part on the beginning before I jump into today's content. Similar to, like, if you watch the pilot episode of the Are We Novice Gods documentary series, I just want to set my intention here so it's very clear what it is I'm about here, what I'm aiming to do with you. Really what I would like to do is I would like to share the things that I have found. I am not a know-it-all. I am not a genius. And I should be careful with the words I'm using. Again, when you say I am not, that's very disempowering. But I hope that you understand that I'm just a regular guy like you who has discovered some amazing things, and I'm happy to share them with others because they have changed my life. So my intention for this is to share the things that I've found in a way that hopefully is approachable, hopefully is easy for you to digest, and hopefully gives you some understanding that you have much more control over your life than you thought. You have many more opportunities to change and direct and create your life. You are a creator. You are the son or daughter of a loving God in heaven who has, you have his DNA, and you have that ability to be creative. So anyway, those are some things that I'm exploring on the YouTube series, on the documentary series, things that I have found to be true, and I'm happy to share them with you, and hopefully you'll get a ton out of it. But my intention is to just share what I found and to be able to help save marriages, help prevent people spiraling down. And the reason for that is because that's where I was. It's hard for you to see where I was 5 or 10 years ago, when my life was just really falling apart. But it was really falling apart. I was incredibly successful creatively, but boy, inside I just was unfulfilled. I was disconnected from God. I didn't know who I was, and who I thought I was really wasn't who I am. And anyway, my life was miserable. I was angry and frustrated. And if you can relate to this, if you have been there, or if you are there right now, I just want to give you hope. And that's what my intention is for this, is to share what I found and let you know there is hope, let you know that there's light, and that if I can do it, you can absolutely do it. So hopefully that just gives you a little bit of my intention for the mastermind calls. Again, I'm excited. So I have to wipe my nose there. I'm excited to hear your stories. I'm excited to be able to interact with you, to hear your questions, and then to address those live in person on these monthly calls. So first Tuesday night of every month, 7 o'clock, be here, join me for the call, and they will all be recorded. So like you're watching this episode, this whatever you got, this call, you will be able to have archives and be able to access those. So anyway, hopefully that gets you knowing where we're starting. So anyway, that gives you the foundation. So what has been on my mind lately that I want to share with you is just kind of a recap of everything that I have learned in this last little bit. I'm on like episode 70 something, I think, on this show, and you know, I came into the show having experienced 4.5+ years of amazing transformation. You know, before that, I had no idea that we have such control over our lives, such opportunities to influence our lives and to influence the world around us, the universe around us, to attract to us the kinds of lives that we truly want to live, and to have that abundantly. I had no idea about that. I had been living reactionary. I had been angry and frustrated and feeling stuck, and I was very much in a victim mindset. So the things that I came into this, you know, I learned a lot in these last 4.5 years, and you know, for the last little bit, I'm like, I would love to package this up so that other people on the journey can gain some things as we go along. So wherever you are, I mean, you may be way beyond me, you may be way far ahead, and I'd love to learn from you as well. So again, don't look at me as a know-it-all kind of person. I'm just sharing what I have found. Excuse me about that. Just sharing what I have found, and I'm excited to be able to make this accessible to you. So a few things that, so what I did was the other day I was in my morning study, and if you haven't gotten a hold of my Align Purpose Pad, it is free. You just pay for shipping, but it will guide you through an effective morning routine. And I got to tell you, this is the thing that has probably changed me the most. And anyway, so as I was doing this, as I was going through my morning routine, I was doing some journaling, and I just had all of these thoughts about things that I have learned in the last little bit doing the show. So without hopping on the computer, without like actually looking at my list of things that I've done, I just kind of went with this brain dump of the things that have impacted me the most. Some of these I knew before, but most of the ones that we're going to talk about were kind of aha moments that happened during the filming or the creation of this show. So the first thing that I wrote down was, the universe always says yes. This is an amazing idea that I had never known until maybe like 2 weeks ago. And this has really changed my perspective, because I was really, and if you've been really following the series, I've been frustrated in my life that I have been able to create some really cool things, but somehow financially, I haven't figured that part out. And so, you know, part of this documentary series is to figure out what is going on. Why can I not seem to get things to click financially? I mean, I got a lot of other things going on that are working, but the financial aspect hasn't really kicked in. So, you know, I'm really curious about what is causing that and how to switch it, because I'm sure that, you know, it's just a few little switches. And one of those was this understanding that the universe always says yes. So, you know, as and I should back up just a little bit. I was going to say whatever request we make to the universe, but so much of what we create, you know, we talk about conscious creation, things that we think about and we feel passionately about, we actually manifest and create in the world. But so often that is not conscious creation. It's unconscious creation. We don't realize what we're doing, what we're thinking, what we're feeling, but that is actually creating how the universe responds around us. So the idea that the universe always says yes, when I heard that, I was like, that can't be true, because I have been asking and asking and asking for financial abundance, for being able to get out of debt, for being able to have these different things work in my businesses, all the things that I've created, to have them actually work and help people and make money that will be sustainable for my family, hasn't worked out yet. Well, one of the things that I found, was this thought that the universe always says yes. So what that means is, deep inside of me, I have this feeling, and I would express it somehow like this: I am incomplete until I make this financially successful. And the universe goes, yes, your wish is my command, basically. I mean, to kind of look at it like a genie. But it is a request, really, because those are my thoughts and feelings. I am not complete until I make this financially successful. And the universe says yes. Isn't that amazing? So this whole time that I have been thinking I'm consciously creating abundance in my life, and I'm working on all of these different things to manifest, for some reason I'm still caught in that invisible turnstile, just going around and around. So think about where you are in your life. Think about what you want to create, what's going on for you. How is it that you are caught in an invisible turnstile? What is the problem that keeps coming up over and over and over again? Is it a relationship issue? The same thing over and over again. Are you dating the same guys that are not nice to you? Are you getting yourself into abusive relationships? Or are you frustrated at work, and it's job after job after job, and you think this job's going to make you more satisfied, or the next one, and you just kind of can't seem to get over this hump of this anger and this frustration, or whatever it is that's going on in your life? Do you find these repeated patterns? Well, the big breakthrough that came to me was realizing the universe always says yes. So if the universe is saying yes, I have to figure out, what question am I asking, and switch that. So that was kind of one of the biggest ahas, the first one that came to my mind as I was thinking back. The next one, this one was also very recently, just in the last few weeks. So grateful for the things that I'm learning on this show. So again, I'm not here trying to pretend that I know everything. I'm just sharing the exciting stuff on the journey that I found. So the next thing is that you are complete right now. So if you go back to that, where I explained to you that I felt incomplete, that I felt like my life is not complete, I am not complete, I am insufficient, I am, what would the words be? But a lot of it comes down to my worth and my worthiness. I am not of value until I make this financially successful, or whatever your turnstile is. But as I was caught in that, I was feeling incomplete. I was feeling like I was deficient. And anyway, changing my perspective to be that I am all complete right now, and then allowing that to really permeate through my life to, okay, now what does that mean? How do I visualize that? Since I've been looking at this in like a business perspective, how do I change from that perspective to something more constructive? And what I came up with was, for me, and I apologize that I'm so personal on this, but hopefully you can see from my mistakes, and you can translate that to wherever you're at and be able to put it into your perspective that will help you. But for me, I was feeling like, business-wise, I am a business failure because of this and this and this and this. And I find all this evidence to prove that that's true. And that's what I'm focused on, and that's where my energy is, and that's my just deep, intense feelings, and that's what the universe hears and says, yes, okay, I'll keep you right where you're at. You got it, Scott, which is not what I want. but it's the energy and the emotion that I'm feeling. So in order to change that, I had to really change my whole perspective. Rather than looking at myself like a businessman, I looked at myself like a tree. I am a fruit tree, and I have all of this fruit. And I looked back at all of the things that I've created in the last 5 years, from short films to an app to a book and an audio recording and an online course and a summit. Anyway, I looked at all these different things and I thought, these are all good fruit. These fruit desirable to make somebody happy. And it's all helpful for people. And so as I changed my perspective and I could see myself like a tree, suddenly I was also more in control of the situation. I wasn't focused on my lack. I wasn't focused on what wasn't happening or manifesting in my life. I was focusing on the fact that I have created. I have shared what I have found in a way that is like fruit for other people. So anyway, hopefully that helps you just get kind of some ideas to look at your life wherever you're in those invisible turnstiles. And if you have had these thoughts and feelings that I am incomplete, and I won't be complete until I get married, until I find a girlfriend, until we have kids, until I get that great job, until I make $1 million, until I live in the place that I wanted. Whatever you are, or if it's about weight, until I get down to, 150 pounds, or whatever your goal is, if you are telling yourself that you are not complete until, the universe always says yes, and it will keep you there. So hopefully just those ideas, those two ideas alone, if you were caught in those invisible turnstiles, hopefully that will help you get out and recognize that you do have more control. So anyway, I hope that's helpful to you. To me, those were some of the biggest ones that just first came to mind of things that I have gained in doing this show. The next one, I wanted to talk about all the intelligences of the universe. Now, people don't talk about this, and I find it fascinating that everybody talks about energy. That there's energy everywhere, and they talk about frequency, and frequency is how the energy and everything attracts. You probably heard that from a lot of people. It's been out there for a gazillion years. I didn't know about it until the last few years, and I've realized, oh my goodness, we do have the ability to control things, by our thoughts, by our beliefs, by our emotions, and that's how it all communicates. But they don't go deeper. They don't talk about what moves the intelligences. I mean, yes, God is in charge of the whole system, but what is the system? Energy itself, can it think? And I think that there are intelligences, and that's what all of this is. Just like you think about nature as this whole ecosystem of life, of biology, that interacts with each other and that and feeds off of each other, and that's how life works, is just this entire microcosm from the smallest single cell organism to like complex animals and mammals and humans and things. It's this entire system in nature, and you think about all the leaves and the trees and the grass and how it all works together, and then you've got rain and this ecology. This is like beyond me, on explaining this, but you get it. There's like this whole system. Well, the system of the universe is all of these intelligences that work together, and that feed off of each other, and that bring us what we want, what we desire, what we have faith to bring about. And a lot of times the faith that we have, though, is fear. Fear is just faith in reverse gear. And so often we get what we don't want in life because we have our faith in reverse gear. So anyway, but people don't really talk about the intelligences that's how this whole system works. God is over the whole thing, But he's not so busy doing all the minutia stuff. He's organized the whole thing, and then the system works, and it works together, and it works for us. And we may think against us if we are believing we are living in a hostile universe, or if we are fearful and living in ways that creates the negative stuff in our lives. I hope that makes sense to you. But anyway, just this idea that it's all of these intelligences that work together to bring us what we desire, and that we have an opportunity to communicate with them, to communicate with God and work in partnership with Him to create the kinds of lives that we want to live. And I really hope that I'm speaking to the people who want to make a difference in the world, who feel they have a gift, have a talent, and would like to make the world a better place. I hope that's you. I hope that you have in your mind that you want to be a contributor, that you want your life to have meaning. You want to matter. And so I hope as you understand that we can work with these intelligences and their energy and frequency and our faith and our belief to bring this stuff about, then we can have greater abundance in our lives as far as everything that can help us have a greater influence or impact on others. So anyway, sorry. Maybe I went off a little bit too long on that one, but just the idea that there are all these intelligences and we have an opportunity to communicate with them, and the way we do that is through our intense feelings, through our faith, through what we truly believe inside. Okay. Okay, so the next one, talk about recognizing God's hand in our lives. Now, one of the cool things that I found in my life is that faith can be a skill. And for many years, I didn't have a lot of faith. I was really struggling with my relationship with God. Maybe you can relate here. You know, have you been unhappy? Have you been angry and frustrated at Him? Have you been praying for things over and over and over again, and it doesn't happen? Or and you're sure that what you're asking for is good stuff. Or maybe you have been trying to earn your blessings or earn your love, His love for you. You know, and you just kind of get caught up in these things where, you know, it hasn't worked out so great and it has hurt your faith. You know, you've got a lot of doubts and insecurities, and you wonder what your place is in the world and the universe. And like, I totally understand if those are some frustrations you've had, because that's where I was too. But one of the things that has changed me the most was doing a pattern of recognizing God's hand in my life. And this is where each night before I'd go to bed, I'd write down if I saw the hand of the Lord in my life. And if I did, I would, you know, just write a sentence or maybe two about that experience. And then if I didn't experience something or couldn't remember or couldn't, you know, I couldn't pick out how I'd seen His hand in my life or the life of my family, then I would say, read today, and I would read what I had written before. Anyway, that's how I started. Then I started taking the highlights from all of my blessings, all of my answers to prayer, all of my tender mercies. I started compiling them into a list of, you know, just kind of a highlight reel, just in a list, and I kept it on my smartphone and my tablet, and whenever, like regularly each day or every few days, I would look through that list of all these prayers that I've had answered, all these tender mercies, all these kindnesses, all these you know, coincidences that really looked like the hand of God in my life. Now the cool thing is when you look at it compressed down like that, it's like that scene in The Hunt for Red October where, and if you remember this movie, this was it was back from 1989, and they had this new Russian sub that instead of using props, it used this silent propulsion drive, this wave drive, worm drive, and whenever they engaged it, it didn't sound like a normal submarine, and so all of the sonar equipment, all the radar wouldn't track it. But there was this guy who loved to listen to stuff, loved to listen to music, and he heard it when it took off, and he recognized kind of there was a little sequence, there was a little pattern to it. And he recorded it a couple of times as they passed it. And he played it back to the ship's captain. And the ship's captain listens to it, and it just sounds like a whale or something like that. And then he plays it back at 10 times speed. And at 10 times speed, it goes toot, 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 toot. And they looked at each other, and they said, that is definitely man-made. Well, in the same respect, if you want to grow faith, if you want to reconnect with God and recognize that He does love you, that He is involved in your life, that you matter enough to Him for Him to get involved in your life, when you start compiling these lists and looking at them regularly, that is like compressing them down and turning it to 10 times speed. And when you do that, you're not going to say that's definitely man-made. You're going to say that's definitely heaven sent. God is involved in your life. And you can see that clearly through these strange coincidences that happen over and over and over again. You know, a miracle, trying to remember, my son said this the other day, and I just thought it was so insightful. So if you let me, oh, it's right here. My son Matt said, miracles are simply events that defy the odds. Isn't that beautiful? But if we start paying attention to all these events, their frequency, how often we have them, then we start to recognize that wasn't just man-made, that wasn't just accident, that was God's hand in my life. So anyway, hopefully that helps you out to kind of understand how to grow faith in your life. Okay, the next one that I listed, man, I have so much that I have gained, or insights that I have found in doing this show. I hope that you're enjoying it. I hope this is helping you, and wherever you're at right now and whatever you're going through, I hope this helps you realize you have much more power than you think you have. You are not the victim. You are not helpless, and you can tap into this inner power. So the next thing I want to talk about was we were watching the movie Spider-Man Homecoming, and this is a show where, they have so many different Spider-Man movies, but in this one, he has this Spider-Man suit that was given to him by Tony Stark, Iron Man. And Tony Stark is this genius who creates just amazing computerized things. Well, Spider-Man, young Spider-Man, doesn't know that the suit has all of these capabilities until it starts talking to him, and he finds out he's been on, I think it was called the Training Wheels Protocol. He's been on that protocol the whole time, and so he's only been using just a fraction of the capabilities of the suit. And so he starts talking to the computer, and he figures out how to unlock it. And as he unlocks it, he realizes he has much greater possibility right there. He has more power than he thought. That's where you are right now. At least that's what I believe. And try out this belief with me. But if you are truly a son or daughter of God, if you have His divine DNA, doesn't that mean that you can do some of the things that He can? And what if it's like turning on one of those capabilities, one of those abilities to do something with your mind, with your spirit, with your soul, like Spider-Man in his suit? And I don't think that we have the opportunity to unlock the whole thing right now, but I think that when we follow kind of the path, when we start to level up, we can unlock more and more capabilities within us. I think we have that power, and I love that kind of analogy on how we can really be our best full selves and the opportunities that we have right now. Hope that makes sense to you. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. The next one, I feel very self-conscious about sharing this with you. But what I wrote down is feeling like a millionaire now. Now, if you watched the pilot episode, and that's only been like 70 episodes ago, I was very open, and I shared what my bank account was, and I shared some of the financial trouble that I've been going through for the last 5 years working to get this off the ground. And, I'm not a millionaire. It's very clear. I am a thousandaire, and I'm a very happy thousandaire. But what I want to share with you, and again, this is really personal, and I hope you forgive me sharing my life and my experiences, but hopefully it gives you hope for wherever you're at on what you can do and the opportunities and possibilities within you. But what I have found is in doing all these things that I have learned through the last few years, I am enjoying a millionaire's lifestyle right now. And think about it. What do you, if you want to be a millionaire, maybe you want to be a billionaire or something like that, or maybe a multi-thousandaire, why do you want that? What is it that you're truly looking for? Do you want to be a millionaire so that you could just buy whatever you want? Maybe, but maybe you have something deeper in there. Maybe you're going, well, I'd like to be a millionaire so I didn't feel like I had to go to work every day. Maybe you think, I want to be a millionaire so I have just this peace, that I'm not worried about what's, every 2 weeks when the mortgage is due, or the cell phone bill, or, the car payment, or all of these things. Maybe you want it so that you have peace. Or maybe you want it so that you could travel and you'd really like to experience more of the world. Or maybe you want to be a millionaire so that you can be more philanthropic, that you can give to others, that you can have the abundance to share. Okay, now if you reverse engineer what it is you truly want, peace, the ability to help others, this ability to experience more of life, if you start to look at those things as feelings and not specifically tied to dollars and cents, but anyway, they are these wonderful emotions that you can have, that you can enjoy right now. Excuse me. Sorry about that. I really didn't drink enough water today. I have just a little more. Anyway, that is something that you can experience right now, and that is something that I have been experiencing for the past number of months. I had a really cool experience happen this last summer where my wife came to me and she said, okay, we're not going to be able to do like a big fancy vacation this year. What if we take a day off every week and we just have our own time, alone time, and we go and do fun stuff together, and we kind of make it like a mini vacation spread throughout the whole summer. She's a school teacher, and so summer is our time to be together. Anyway, I have been living like an entrepreneur for the last 4.5 years, to where I'm up at 4:30 in the morning and I'm running all through the day, and just every day was packed. And if you know any entrepreneurs, or if you are an entrepreneur and you think there's never enough time in the day, I never have enough, you're just always operating from this deficiency. That's how I was for years. And then when she said that, and I thought, oh, that'd be kind of fun to take a whole afternoon off or a whole day off and just do things together. And that's what we did this summer. And I got to tell you, it was wonderful. It was so strange to do less and accomplish more, to be calm and yet be more successful than I've been. And really, anyway, what I want to share with you is that you can feel like a millionaire now. And think about what you truly want to have in life. If it's peace, if it's great relationships, if it's a sense of calmness, if it's a sense of service, that you want to be philanthropic, there are ways that you can enjoy that right now, and it has nothing to do with the dollars. And you can experience this. You can live this right now. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you. Hope that makes sense to you. And so, I have that in my notes. Next thing is Eye of Faith. And you know what? This one I haven't really talked about in the show so much, but this is something that I learned, I don't know, maybe a couple of years ago, maybe not even that long ago. But what an eye of faith is it's believing as if it's already happened. And so, as you are working to consciously create things in your life. So, we keep using my life as an example. I'm like this public guinea pig. As I am working to, like, specifically one of my things is to be more financially secure. As I am working on creating that. I am living in that way. And to have an eye of faith is to actually see it as if it has already happened. What's interesting is you find this eye of faith in the scriptures. Maybe not those terms, but this idea to believe as if it has already happened. Jesus Christ talks about it, and I love the scriptures that kind of clarify this. But believing that it has already happened. And as I learned about that, and as I've listened to so many people who talk about manifesting, who talk about consciously creating, that's kind of one of the secrets, is you believe it as if it has already happened. That, you know, kind of time gets mixed up a little bit there because it's already happened, because you've already believed it into existence. So anyway, I'm probably not doing a very great job explaining that right now. I'm going to do some more of that on the show, but that's just a really cool concept to understand. Really, everything is about faith. Faith is the power that fuels us. This is the power that we have to create the lives that we want. And faith in reverse gear is fear, and you don't want that. You don't want to live with that. Okay, so the next thing, the line that I have in here is forgiving yourself, even for limiting beliefs. This interview happened just maybe 2 weeks ago, maybe last week, but I interviewed Richard Worthington. So if you want to go back to the show and review what Richard Worthington said, he talked about forgiveness, and he'd had this amazing blessing in his life where he had a car accident. And through that car accident, he had a traumatic brain injury. And the brain injury kept him immobilized for a long time. And he had a lot of time to spend with himself. One of the things that he found was that forgiveness was this amazing tool that we have to make our lives better. And he was looking at his life in kind of a business aspect. He's an entrepreneur, very successful. And he applied forgiveness in order to just create even greater abundance in his business than he had ever done before. And he shared that with us in the episode. I love that. But one of the things that he said that really surprised me, that I had never considered before, was to use forgiveness on yourself, to forgive yourself for limiting beliefs. This was really cool. I never thought of it before. But for him, he had a limiting belief that he would not be able to get married until he was 39. That's what everyone in his family had kind of gotten married late, and so he believed that for himself. And it was this limiting belief that was dictating how his life was turning out, and he was frustrated by it. And he had been trying to work over it for a long time. And then somebody taught him, you need to forgive yourself for having that limiting belief. And when he started to do that, his relationships started to change. His opportunities started to change. And anyway, a really cool idea. So if you are thinking about what can I do to truly make progress in my life, consider the opportunity to forgive. To forgive others, to forgive yourself, to forgive and completely forget. You know, to completely let that go. So you might want to check out that episode. Excellent stuff. I gained a lot out of that. That was a surprising kind of aha for me. Okay, and the next thing that I wrote down is don't believe everything you think. Now this was kind of interesting. I interviewed Camille Kennard a few months ago, and on the day that I interviewed her, I was listening to a TED Talk or a podcast or something in the morning, and somebody said that very same line, don't believe everything you think. And when I interviewed her, she brought it up again. Again, I look at that as coincidence, you know, as God getting involved in my life to say, hey, this is important, pay attention to it. But think about what you think. And a lot of times, if it comes into our minds, we just readily accept it. Well, you don't necessarily have to do that. You have opportunities to challenge the thoughts that come into your mind so that you can have the most constructive beliefs in your life. Because a lot of times the things that we think are not constructive. A lot of times we have that monkey chatter that goes on where we're very depreciating. We're very negative. We put ourselves down all the time. I don't know. Are you like me? Am I the only one? I hope not. But anyway, I hope your life is much better than that. But don't believe everything you think. So you might want to check that episode out. The next thing that I have written down here is you have forgotten who you are. Now, this is kind of a cool concept. If you watch the pilot episode, we talked a lot about this whole caveman idea. We're told all the time that we descended from apes and we are evolving and, we're up to this level. And I said, I don't want to look back. I don't want to look back at that. I'd rather look forward and say, wait, how come we can do these amazing things? How come we have these connections to one another? How come we can feel this energy? How come we can consciously create things in our lives? We can, heal our bodies through the power of our thoughts. Why can we do this? So it's looking forward. But if we are going to look back, excuse me, if we are going to look back, there is one part of our lives that I think would be really important to look at. And that is to look at how we were when we were children. When we came out, we were these amazing, young, vibrant spirits. We had no restrictions. You think about a little 2-year-old or a little 3-year-old. They are so full of life. They are abundant. They are learning. They are growing. They are soaking everything in like a sponge. They are brave. They are creative. They treat everyone equally. They see potential in everyone. They just have these amazing qualities that as time goes on, we forget who we are. We forget what we were like, and we start to live as kind of a shell of ourselves. So if you're going to look back at anything, don't look back at ape man or ape concept, those ideas. Look back at how you were when you were a child. And I know you can't remember that, but you can see other children, and you can see through their eyes what life is like. And you can see them living without chains on, without restrictions. They are unrestrained. You can live like that again because you have that very same spirit in you now. You didn't get a new spirit when you turned 15. You have the very same spirit, and you have those same qualities that you had when you were a little child. So you've forgotten who you are. And if you can take time to remember and to get rid of those shackles that are holding you back, those shackles that say that you need to play small or not be the best full version of yourself, those thoughts that tell you need to fit in, you need to be like everyone else. That isn't what you need to do. You need to go back to who you were when you started out. And the more unrestrained you can be, the more truly loving and compassionate and kind and creative and brave and adventurous, the more you can be like that youthful you, the more you're going to just love life. So anyway, I want to share that with you. Let's see. I have a note here about novice gods, gods in embryo, and gods in training. Now, I got to tell you, this whole concept has frightened me to be able to say this out loud, to say what I believe, to say what drives me. This idea that there is a purpose to life, that we are connected to God, that it's not haphazard, but that it is very intricate in the training that each of us experiences that is specific to how we are. That whole idea that is just the core of everything that I believe frightens me to talk about in public like this. I'm grateful that I was brave enough to bring it up. I hope it doesn't frighten you. I hope it doesn't scare you to chat about the possibilities within us. But I would love, love, love to have this part of the conversation, who you truly are. And if you can change your identity, your personal belief about yourself, and take off the chains and allow yourself just the possibility, what if? What if God really does have a plan? What if I really am a child of God? You ask yourself, what if we are really connected? What if I'm not forgotten? What if these challenges that are happening to me aren't happening to me, but they're happening for me? What if there's a great plan? What if there are great things that I can do right now? Anyway, as we start to ask these questions, I think it just opens up many great possibilities. It changes, this perception that we have on who we are, and opens the doors to so much more. So I hope that this show title hasn't been as scary to you as it is to me. It does frighten me to just really stand and say, this is what I believe. And it may not be true, but I would much rather live with a belief that I am connected with the creator of this universe than to believe otherwise. It feels great. It feels like this sense of amazing possibility. And I feel like my life is blessed and it has purpose and meaning because of it. So I share that with you. I hope that you are enjoying this series. I hope that you are loving that. And anyway, I share that with you. The next thing that I have written down is learning to let go. And this is not something that I have learned. This is something that I am learning. I'm still in the process of this. So, we talk about manifesting. We talk about consciously creating things, believing it into being, believing it into reality. A big part of that is learning to let go. You work on it to believe it as though it's already happened, to put enough emotion to it so that your faith and your energy is sending that out to all the intelligences in the universe, and then that is now basically you've like sent your order to Amazon, and then you need to let go and wait and trust the system, trust the universe. Trust God and His love for you, and trust that He will do what's best for you. And that is a hard part for me, is to let go. But it's something that I've been studying. I've shared some of it with you on the series, but I certainly don't have my arms around it to where I really understand how to let go. Hopefully I've shared enough with you that you're like, I got it. And hopefully you could do it and apply it in your lives. But I believe that is an important part of consciously creating, is to send it out, to make the order, send it out and let go and just trust. Because this is all about belief. Everything that we consciously create comes down to what we believe, and what we believe really manifests. So I wanted to share that with you. Let's see, I'm going to skip over a few things because I really want to give you just the top, the most important things that I've learned. And I mean, these are all great. I hope this is helpful for you. Okay, I have in here, friendly or hostile universe. In one of the episodes, I shared a quote that Albert Einstein shared where he said the most important decision we make is whether we believe in a friendly or hostile universe. And we kind of unpacked that statement and looked at that. It was really interesting because he said it's the most important decision. In other words, we have this choice. We can choose which way we believe, if we believe we live in a hostile universe or we believe we live in a friendly universe. Well, as we unpack that, one of the things that kind of came to me is if we believe we live in a friendly universe, we believe that the universe is working with us, that we can attract these things into our lives, and that through our belief we can bring that about, which is, it's all the things that we've been learning on manifesting conscious creation, believing it into being. But if we believe we live in a hostile universe, we are then going to operate out of fear, and that fear is going to bring the things to us that we don't want. So this is the faith in reverse gear. Anyway, I thought it was really interesting how Einstein so eloquently painted that picture for us. But it is a choice. We have the opportunity to choose what we believe. And if we don't consciously make those choices, if we are not becoming self-aware, if we're not deliberate about the thoughts that are going through our mind, then it's going to be simply a matter of going with gravity and just, again, don't believe everything you think. And when it's easy to think negatively because you're thinking downhill. You have all that gravity. But anyway, I love that idea that Einstein shared for us. So it's interesting how God has truth everywhere. He has truth in science. He has truth in movies. He has truth in architecture. And all of these things come to us. And if we are paying attention, we can catch all of these truths and piece them together in ways that will help us to truly become who we were meant to be. I think God has designed it a little bit like a game. This is my personal opinion. I think the whole training ground of life is to teach us and give us the opportunity to choose, and to choose love. It's really all about love. It's that simple. But we're given these opportunities, and so yeah, we can consciously create abundance in our lives. We can create these amazing things. But I don't think that's the reason we're here. I think the reason we're here is to find out if we can truly love others, if we can put their needs above ours and not operate out of selfishness, and really become somebody that others can trust, that all the intelligences can trust. I have another belief I will share with you, that and I will be doing an episode on this in just the next coming days. But, I worked in the philanthropic field for a number of years, about a dozen years. And so I worked with really wealthy families, and I got to pay attention to really wealthy families and see what happens. And so often wealth destroys families. You'll have a first-generation wealth come in, and this is, a couple that has worked hard, and they've put in the time and the energy, and they've created a business or a few companies or whatever they've done, and they go from rags to riches, and it is this amazing, inspiring story. And then the next generation comes, and they are handed wealth, and generally that destroys them. It is so interesting to look at how second-generation wealth destroys families, and the second-generation kids often lose all the money. In fact, I was just reading some research on it today that said 70% of second-generation wealth is lost because of the kids. Anyway, the reason I bring this up is we're talking about how we are connected with God. God really wants to give us everything, but He can't just give it to us, because if He does, it's going to ruin us. We have to somehow be trained. We have to somehow grow and not earn it like we're going to try and earn His love or something like that, but we need to be skilled enough that we can have all the abundance that He has, as well as the skills and the talents and the powers. And when we have that in a way that we have gone through the fire, that we have gone through the training ground, then we have the ability to truly be able to handle the wealth that He wants to give us. I believe God wants to give us everything, and I believe that we can have that now, and we don't have to look at wealth as this bad thing, and that good people aren't wealthy. Spiritual people have a lot of problems with wealth because of poor beliefs, I think, on who they are and their relationship with God. But so anyway, that one's coming. Thought I'd share that with you. We're kind of running out of time here. I'm sorry, there are so many things that I've got on here. I have one more thing. If you didn't check out the rice experiment, try this. Look it up. It's in the show series. It'll say Dr. Emoto, I believe, in the title or on the graphics. But Dr. Emoto did this amazing study about how powerful our thoughts are. We do impact our environment. We do impact the universe around us. And we do create our own reality. It's absolutely true. I didn't understand how that all worked but I've been able to do these experiments, and I realize, oh my goodness, it really does. And I would like it to, I want to create the kind of, experience that I truly want. Anyway, so check it out. There's this rice experiment where I took some rice and I wrote love on it on the outside, and the other one I took rice and I wrote hate on it. I actually had another one, a control group where I didn't do anything, and I would think love thoughts or hate thoughts, or I didn't even do anything with those, and it made a difference. It actually changed the rice in just a couple of weeks. And you can try this experiment at home. I show you how to do it, and I hope you will do it. I hope that you will then see how powerful your thoughts are, how powerful your intentions are, how important it is for you to choose what you believe, to believe things that are constructive for you, to believe things that are going to expand you, to then live lives of expansiveness, and not to live small, and not to pretend or believe that you are the victim in these circumstances, but to recognize that you have this great power within you. So anyway, do your thoughts impact your reality? Absolutely. And if you try out that rice experiment, that will give you some great, easy understandings of it really works. And once you believe that's possible, once you see it for yourself, and you do it in your own home, and you recognize that you do have that power, it just kind of opens up your mind to the possibilities within you. So anyway, I still have another page, but we're going to close because we're coming on an hour. But I just wanted to share with you some of the things that I have gained on this. I am so excited to share this with you. Again, not the kind of guy that knows everything. I'm not here standing, on a soapbox saying how you should believe or anything like that. What I'm doing is having you ask the question, what if? I want to challenge your beliefs. I want to challenge your beliefs about you. I want to pull off the chains. I want to take the ceiling away from you and help you realize just the unlimited potential within you. What if you really are a child of God? What if you truly have divine DNA? You are a God in training, a God in embryo. What if you really are a novice God and have that capability within you? Well, I hope you ask those questions. I hope you find some answers that are helpful to you. And I hope that as we share time on this series and in these mastermind calls, that we can figure out how to level up right now, how to unlock more of our potential within. And I hope that you will truly be the person you were meant to be, the person you already are, but has not quite grown to fruition. If you think about a little seedling, I know we talk about like God's an embryo, but we don't see embryos very often. But we see little tiny seedlings, and we know they're going to grow into this amazing, tall tree, fruit tree or giant oak tree. And when we see them as a little small seedling, we know still that it has the power within it to be that full tree. That's what you are like now. You have everything within you. You are complete. You are whole. You are just on the process of growing. So I hope that helps you. Thank you for joining me for this first mastermind call. Look for this every month, first Tuesday at 7 o'clock Mountain Time. And again, all the recordings will be here in the archives. Thanks. We'll talk to you later.